So the price of gas is now $4.56 a gallon, average price across the United States. And the Transportation Secretary Duffy is smugly telling the American public that you should go out and vacation, that America is in a really, really good place as far as oil prices are concerned. Nothing to worry about. It's all good. I mean, look, yesterday the price fell to below $100. And yeah, you manipulated the market, so it fell. But where is it today? Just because the futures price falls doesn't mean the price at the pump is going to come down. Everybody's saying this has a long tail, and by the time all the tankers clear the strait and all the oil production goes back online, it's going to be a while. Apparently, the last tanker full of oil arrived in California just this week. No further shipments are coming out of the Gulf. None are coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. So, this is a problem. Yet, the Trump cabinet remains supremely smug about the impact of this on everyday Americans. Yesterday, the New York Times reported that low income Americans are finding it hard to afford transportation. They are having problems getting to work. And so much of their budget is now being spent on transportation. And if there's public transportation, they're trying to take that because they can't afford to take their cars. Working people around the world are the ones being damaged. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that hotel bookings are probably at 10% capacity or will be at 10% of their capacity only in Dubai, which means that a lot of the migrant workers that are there earning money for their families back home are now out of jobs. Many of them are being sent packing back home. So many families around the world rely on these remittances. They are being damaged. As I've said before, Dubai is nothing but a playland for the well off and celebrities. And those serving them are all migrant labor from Pakistan, from India, from Sri Lanka, from the Philippines, from Thailand. And they are the ones being damaged. Who are the seafarers stuck on the 2,000 ships? There are 20,000 seafarers stranded right now. Again, they come from the exact same countries that I just mentioned. Add Indonesia in there as well. The CIA's analysis has been leaked or given to the Washington Post, and they're saying that Iran can go on for 2 to 3 to 4 months in this blockade. They can withstand the blockade. Not only that, but their position seems to have strengthened. The hardliners are firmly in control. They now have leverage they didn't have before, which is the Strait of Hormuz, and they're not about to give that up. And there's some reports that today Iran has said no to America's proposals on the Strait of Hormuz. They are not going to give up that leverage. Moreover, let us not forget that Iran has made it very clear that whatever agreement they make must include Lebanon. And that is precisely why Israel continues to bombard Lebanon, continues to demand ethnic cleansing of the South, because it undermines the agreement. It undermines any framework agreement. There is no ceasefire in Lebanon, which is a clear demand of Iran. So it's very unclear what is going on in the Gulf region. Now there are reports that now Saudi Arabia and Kuwait have said, okay, you can start using the bases again. But I think the message to Trump was, we will not allow you to use these bases in an offensive, kinetic war, because the retaliation will be so swift from Iran. And it seems that unlike the UAE, Saudi Arabia now is demanding de escalation. The cost is becoming too high. And the risk, the risk of the Houthis getting involved on the Red Sea would choke off the Yanbu port. And that would be it for Saudi exports. There is so much damage that is happening to the region because of this chaos and the shifting objectives and shifting tactics being deployed by the US with hugely uncertain results. So, what is happening in the markets today? The market has fallen. The market is fallen because there's rumors that Iran has rejected the agreement. We don't know if that is true, but it seems that that might be one of the reasons why the market is once again in the red. There was a lot of euphoria yesterday, a lot of reporting that, there is a framework agreement, there is imminent one-page memorandum of understanding that is being worked on, and everybody was extremely positive. But today we are in a waiting mode. We are in sort of a holding pattern because nobody really knows what exactly has been agreed or not agreed. But I would be very surprised if Iran agrees to anything that makes them lose leverage on the Strait of Hormuz. And as many of the analysts have been saying, it may be that control of the strait is much more important to Iran right now than developing a nuclear weapon. That they are 10x more powerful controlling the strait and who goes through it and how they go through it than becoming a nuclear power. And Iran becomes a regional power. Iran right now is driving the behavior of Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar. They're all scared. They do not want any more offensive kinetic action by the United States. They have also seen that when Iran launches attacks on them, the US does not come to their aid. And that was very clear throughout the war that the United States did not come to the aid of the GCC countries. So, what was the value of the bases? What was the value of the deep embrace that these kingdoms have had with the United States if they can't even have basic protection from the US? So, let us see how it goes. But I am quite surprised the CIA has basically put out an analysis that is bang opposite to what Netanyahu and Mossad was telling the American president, which was Iran will capitulate within 3 days. We're going to kill the top leadership. We're going to kill an 89-year-old cancer patient, and Iran will collapse. That didn't happen. We are going to blockade them, and there will be economic collapse. We will bomb their infrastructure back to the Stone Age, and they will collapse. We will send in the Kurdish Iranians out of Erbil to attack them, and they will collapse. We will incite a civil war inside Iran, and they will collapse. None of that has happened. And yet, president after president, Netanyahu was selling that bullshit to George W. Bush, to Obama. Obama actually said in his New Yorker article that, in his interview, that Netanyahu had come to him and sold him the exact same presentation, and he refused to attack Iran. He didn't buy it and he said no. Same thing was said to Trump in his first term, and Trump said no. Same thing to Biden, he said no. Now Trump has become the useful idiot, ignoring his own intelligence agencies and buying the bullshit from Mossad. This is something that former Joe Kent, who was thrown out, fired, said that when he was working in US intelligence, there was a dominance of the Israeli version of intelligence, which was time and time again turning out to be false. And the New York Times, in reporting how actually Trump was convinced by Netanyahu, also reported that there was an Israeli version of intelligence that proved to be false. And everything I just rattled off was being provided by Netanyahu and his intelligence folks in the Situation Room. We are now over 2 months into this illegal, ill thought through war that is collapsing the world economy, that is damaging millions of low income people around the world. And here we are, the CIA saying Iran has literally become stronger in many ways, and they can survive this blockade for months. And what did the Iranians say? The US can only take this for weeks, while we can take this for months. That is something to pay heed to and pay a lot of attention to.